What would you do if you came home early from a work trip and found your wife packing lingerie for a weekend getaway with another man? That's quite the opening line from the source material we're diving into today.
It really sets the scene, doesn't it? And right away, this isn't going to be a straightforward story. We're looking at a deeply personal account someone shared about, well, a marriage implosion.
Yeah, an implosion that didn't just happen behind closed doors. It spilled out publicly, revealing just layers and layers of deception. It's quite shocking, actually.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to really unpack this narrative for you. We'll trace the sequence of events, pinpoint those crucial emotional moments, look at the whole web of betrayal, and see what happened when all these secrets finally burst into the open.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Our narrator is Daniel Mercer. He's 47, works as an aircraft mechanic in Denver, married 22 years to Madison.
Right. And their kids are grown. They're out of the house. Daniel felt like they were stepping into this new, maybe quieter phase of life. He was actually looking forward to a simple weekend after being away for work.
Just a normal Friday night, or so he thought. He comes home, walks in through the garage, but instead of a normal welcome, he hears footsteps upstairs. Hurried ones.
Madison appears at the top of the stairs. She's startled, clearly wasn't expecting him, and she's wearing this specific robe, a short one he mentions he hadn't seen in months, one from happier times, it sounds like.
That detail hits hard, doesn't it? That immediate sense something's off. She tells him he's early, she's flustered, and then, hesitantly, she drops it.
The bombshell. She's going away for the weekend with Brian Whitaker, a coworker from the hospital where she works.
And she actually says, we can talk when I get back Sunday night, like it's normal.
Exactly. As if it's just some casual trip she forgot to mention. Daniel's stunned, obviously, but the source says his instincts just took over.
Instead of blowing up right then, his mind starts working. What's really going on here? So he does something maybe unexpected. He calls his kids.
Yeah, Brooke and Josh. But he gives them a pretext, right? Says their mom had a fall or something.
Right, just to get them over there. He said he had this gut feeling he needed witnesses, which, looking ahead, was probably smart.
Definitely. While Madison's still upstairs, Daniel spots her purse, and he checks it.
And finds
credit cards, keys, and the clincher. A Marriott reservation printout for Aspen. 3 nights.
Okay, so not just a quick weekend trip. Aspen.
And here's the detail that blows it wide open. It lists 7 rooms on the same floor, all booked under Brian Whitaker's name.
7 rooms. Wow, okay, that's not a couple's getaway. That screams something else entirely.
Totally. This discovery just shifts everything. It pushes Daniel into action. He starts making calls. First, Brian Whitaker's wife.
How did that go?
He identifies himself, explains why he's calling, and her response is just chilling.
Oh, God, I was waiting for this call.
Wow. So she suspected. Seems like it. She confirms Brian lied to her, said he was going to Boston. Daniel even sends her a photo of the reservation as proof.
Okay. Who's next on the call list?
Corrine Adams. She's the hospital director. And, importantly, she's a close friend of Madison's.
Ah. So Daniel calls her.
Yeah. He tells her he suspects an affair, but he adds something specific. He says he thinks others are involved, suggests it was, quote, organized.
And Corinne's reaction?
Silence. Just dead air. And then she hangs up on him.
Hangs up. That's telling.
Extremely telling. And then seconds later, Madison's phone rings. Daniel, maybe on instinct again, picks it up. He hears this frantic whispered voice. He knows. He found out. What did you tell him? And then the voice keeps saying, Judith.
Judith.
Yep.
Okay, so this confirms it. It's not just Madison and Brian. There are definitely other people involved, connected to the hospital somehow. That phone call, that's huge.
It's the moment Daniel realizes the sheer scale of the deception. It's organized, it involves colleagues, and it's happening right under the hospital's nose, seemingly.
All right, so this leads us straight into the big confrontation. Madison comes back downstairs, but she's changed.
Yeah, the old robe is gone. She's dressed for the trip now. And the source describes this dress. A red silk one he's never seen. High neck in front, but cut really low in the back, high slit.
Making a statement, basically.
Definitely. And she sees her purse, sees it's been moved or opened, and turns on Daniel. What the hell is this? You had no right.
But Daniel stops her. He's past politeness now. He says, no, you don't get to walk out like this, not this time.
She fires back, tries to assert herself. I don't belong to you. And his response cuts deep. And I don't belong to this charade, so let's stop pretending.
She tries to push past him, still aiming for the door.
Yeah. And Daniel grabs her dress to stop her, just grabs the shoulder.
Ta-da.
The fabric tears. Rips right open, exposing her black lace bra, her midsection. It's a dramatic, messy moment.
Oh, man. And you just know what's coming next, don't you?
Exactly. And that precise, chaotic, humiliating second, the front door opens.
The kids! Brooke and Josh arrive.
They walk right into this scene. Their mom, in a torn, revealing dress, the air thick with tension. Everything just raw and exposed. You can only imagine their shock.
The source mentions Brooke just quietly asks, "What is this, Mom?" Captures the confusion perfectly.
And this is when Daniel starts laying out the proof. He picks up that folded note from her purse, the one about helping her sister with their mother.
The cover story.
Right. He reads it aloud. "Dear Daniel, I'm heading to help my sister." This blatant lie right in front of the kids. Their disbelief is palpable.
And then Josh spots something else in her purse.
Yeah, he points to these protection packs. 12 packs of protection. What's that for? Some medical emergency. His tone is just sharp.
12 packs, wow. And Madison's reaction.
She tries to deny they're hers, but her voice cracks. The lie just falls apart. She can't maintain it.
This is just escalating uncontrollably. And then it gets even worse.
Unbelievably, yes. The doorbell rings again.
No, who is it now?
Madison's parents. They walk into the middle of this absolute wreckage.
Oh, God, her parents.
Her mother's devastated. But her father, he's furious. But his anger is directed squarely at Madison.
So Daniel tells him everything, no holding back.
Everything. The hotel, Aspen, Brian Whitaker, the confirmation from Mrs. Whitaker, he lays it all out.
And to hammer it home.
He calls Madison's sister, Mavis, puts her on speaker, asks about their mom's health, and Mavis confirms, "Oh, Mom's fine. Madison said she was staying with you this weekend, Daniel."
Oof. The final nail in the coffin for that lie. How does Madison react?
The source says she just groaned, buried her face in her hand. There's literally nowhere left to hide. It's all out, in front of her kids, her parents.
And then the phone rings again.
Yeah, but this time it's for Daniel. It's Jerry, Corrine Adams' husband, the cop.
The hospital director's husband. Okay.
He'd gotten a warrant based on Daniel's earlier call. He confirms the Marriott situation. 7 rooms, 12 people total, including Brian Whitaker and Corrine.
Corrine was booked in one of the rooms too, the director.
Confirmed. Jerry apologizes, offers support. But now it's official. This is a massive conspiracy involving hospital staff, including leadership.
So the confrontation kind of ends there, in the house. What's the last exchange between Daniel and Madison?
It's heartbreaking, really. She pleads with him. "Please don't do this. Please don't throw me away like this."
And Daniel?
His response is ice cold. Reflects the depth of the betrayal. "You already did. You just thought I wouldn't notice." And then he tells her, "Go change, get dressed, and get out of my house."
Just get out. Wow. Okay, so that's the end of Act 2, the confrontation. Act 3 is the aftermath, the unraveling.
Right. Madison leaves, maybe half an hour later, changed into jeans and a hoodie, no makeup, looking, as the source puts it, lost and hollow, a total contrast to the red dress.
And as she's leaving, their son, Josh, says something.
He does, a really cutting remark. "Don't worry, Mom. When you plan your next getaway, Adrian and I will make sure the wedding doesn't overlap with any of your side events."
Ouch. That implies maybe he knew or suspected things weren't right before.
It certainly suggests that, doesn't it? Or at least a deep bitterness about her priorities. Brooke, their daughter, is just silent.
After Madison leaves, her father talks to Daniel.
Yeah, he stays behind for a minute. Asks Daniel, "Is there any way back from this? She clearly needs help."
And Daniel's response?
Firm. "She could talk to my lawyer. Point of no return."
Her father tries one last thing, saying she loved him.
He does. "Just remember, she did love you." And Daniel's reply is just full of pain. Funny way of showing it.
Yeah, understandable. So what happens next? The fallout must have been huge, especially at the hospital.
Oh, absolutely. It unravels completely. The investigation confirms everything Daniel suspected and more. Brian did use a hospital corporate card for the rooms, the expenses. Corrine did falsify records, claiming it was some kind of off-site training to cover for everyone.
And the big problem was people listed as being on duty.
We're actually partying in Aspen. People who were supposed to be caring for patients. The hospital tried to contain it, but it was too big, involved too many people.
So consequences.
Major consequences. An internal investigation led to at least 8 people being fired or forced to resign. That included Corrine, the director, and Brian Whitaker.
And Madison.
She lost her job, too. She tried to spin it as mutual, but the source clarifies. She was caught. And crucially, it says, this wasn't the first time, implying past incidents or patterns.
Right. And the source mentions Corrine's role in influencing Madison.
Yeah, it uses the term grooming, saying Corrine told Madison she'd deserved more, that a little fun was okay, even suggesting husbands secretly liked knowing their wives were desired by others. Really manipulative stuff.
Which raises that whole question of influence versus personal choice, doesn't it? How much was Madison manipulated? How much did she choose this path?
Exactly. Daniel reflects on that too. He acknowledges Corinne's influence, but ultimately sees Madison's actions as choices she made. And despite all this, the source says Daniel didn't file for divorce right away.
Really? After all that?
He admits he still loved her for over 2 decades. He actually hoped initially maybe they could fix it. They even tried counseling briefly. But through that process, he realized this wasn't just one mistake. It was, in his words, a decision, a long string of them. And that understanding seemed to be the turning point for him.
So what did he do then?
He took extended leave from work, and he kept, quote, digging, looking into everything.
And this digging led to?
A lawsuit against the hospital for negligence, misuse of funds, covering things up, and against Brian Whitaker personally.
Did that go anywhere?
Yes. The source mentions multiple settlements were reached, totaling over $1 million across different parties. Daniel himself received a significant 6-figure sum.
Does he feel like that was justice?
He explicitly says no, it wasn't justice, just numbers. It didn't undo the damage or bring back what was lost.
So flash forward a year, what's the situation?
Madison's living in a small apartment. Her reputation is ruined in their community. The kids are distant. Daniel reflects on how she used to say he was the only man for her, but then she just stopped trying, stopped seeing him.
He contrasts her begging him not to leave, saying she couldn't survive, with the fact that he is surviving.
Right. It's a stark contrast. And there's this one anecdote. About 8 months after it all blew up, Daniel runs into Brian Whitaker at a gym.
Oh, wow. What happened?
Daniel notes Brian looks different. Thinner, older. Had a bandaged hand, a bruised eye still. Remnants of some other consequence, perhaps.
And Daniel's reaction, does he say anything?
Nothing. He just looks at him and walks past. No words, no confrontation.
That says a lot, doesn't it? Like he's just done, moved past needing any kind of interaction with him.
Exactly. It feels like a sign of Daniel moving on, focusing on himself, and his final thoughts in the source material really capture that. He talks about betrayal.
What does he say?
The worst part of betrayal isn't what they do. It's how easily they act like you never mattered. That's a powerful, painful insight.
It really is. But he doesn't end there, does he?
No. He counters that. He reflects on his own worth, reclaiming it. But I did matter. And now I matter to myself more than I ever did to her.
A journey to self-worth after devastation. The source kind of sums it up as a stark contrast. He gave everything, she gave excuses and lies and had this public breakdown. He ended up with the truth, she lost everything.
It's a devastating narrative.
Mhm.
And looking back, the betrayal is just so layered. It's not just personal between husband and wife. It's professional, involving colleagues, trust, hospital resources.
Yeah, and it tangled up friendships, like with Corinne, and obviously the family relationships with the kids and parents. It forces you to think about the choices people make under pressure or maybe out of selfishness.
Definitely. What leads someone down a path of such elaborate, risky deception? How much does a negative influence like Corinne's play a part versus individual accountability?
And consequences. They just ripple outwards, don't they? Far beyond the initial affair. Careers destroyed, families fractured, reputations ruined. It's a huge impact.
Daniel's journey is one of resilience, in a way, from being blindsided to meticulously uncovering the truth and finding his footing again. Madison's story is a cautionary tale about the catastrophic results of choices built on lies. And Corinne? Well, she serves as a stark example of how trust can be abused in a professional setting.
It's an incredibly intense story showing how trust, once shattered on this scale, can lead to such a public and complete collapse.
It really leaves you thinking, doesn't it, about those points of no return. How do you reconcile loving someone with their capacity for such deep deception? When is a situation truly broken beyond repair? And maybe, what's the real difference between consequences and justice?
A lot to mull over from this deep dive into one person's incredibly difficult experience. If this story moved you, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube.